The restaurant smelled of garlic and regret. I sat across from him. Elliot, watching the way his fingers traced the rim of his wine glass, a nervous tick I hadn't noticed until now. The dim lighting cast shadows across his sharp jawline, and his hazel eyes flickered with something I couldn't quite place. Amusement, anxiety, I wasn't sure. All I knew was that the air between us felt heavier than it should have for a casual Friday night dinner. "So," he said, leaning back in his chair, "you're telling me you've never tried the gnocchi here? It's practically a crime." I laughed, a little too loudly, the sound bouncing off the exposed brick walls. "I'm more of a spaghetti girl. Simple, reliable. Gnocchi feels like it's trying too hard." He smirked, and for a moment, I forgot why I'd agreed to this in the first place. It was supposed to be a friendly hangout. Two coworkers unwinding after a brutal week of deadlines. But the way he looked at me now, with that half-cocked grin and a glint in his eye, made my stomach twist. Not unpleasantly, but unexpectedly. "Simple's overrated," he said, his voice low, teasing. "You should let me corrupt you sometime." My cheeks burned. I reached for my water, desperate to cool the sudden heat creeping up my neck. Was he flirting? No, I was overthinking it. Elliot was just charming like that. Disarmingly easy to talk to. It's why we'd clicked so fast at work. Late nights at the office, trading sarcastic quips over lukewarm coffee, had turned into this. Dinner at a place with candles and a wine list longer than my arm. A friend thing, right? The waiter arrived with our food, breaking the tension. I twirled my spaghetti, grateful for the distraction, while Elliot dug into his gnocchi with exaggerated enthusiasm. We fell into our usual rhythm. Banter, laughter, the occasional comfortable silence. But every so often, I'd catch him watching me, and my pulse would stutter. It wasn't until dessert, a shared tiramisu he'd insisted on, that the first crack appeared. "So," he said, spoon hovering midair, "how's Mia doing? You two still talk every day." Mia, my best friend since college. The one who'd cried on my shoulder through every breakup, who'd dragged me to karaoke nights when I'd rather stay home with a book. I smiled, thinking of her latest text. A meme about her cat plotting world domination. "She's good. Busy with work, as usual." "Why?" Elliot shrugged, but there was a flicker in his expression. Something guarded. "Just curious. She's intense, huh? Always has been." I frowned, tilting my head. "Intense. I guess. She's passionate. You know her." He froze, just for a second, before scooping up another bite of tiramisu. "Not really. Heard of her through mutual friends, I think." The answer didn't sit right. Mia wasn't the type to be a vague heard of in anyone's life. She left an impression, for better or worse. But I brushed it off. Maybe he'd met her at some party I'd forgotten about. It wasn't worth digging into. Except it was. Because an hour later, as we stood outside the restaurant, the truth hit me like a freight train. The night air was crisp, biting at my bare arms as we lingered by the curb. Elliot had offered to walk me to my car, and I'd said yes without thinking. Now, with the city buzzing around us, honking cabs, distant laughter, I felt a pull I couldn't name. He stepped closer, his breath visible in the cold, and I didn't step back. "Thanks for tonight," he said, voice softer than before. "I haven't laughed that hard in a while." "Me neither," I admitted, and it was true. Work had been a grind, and this, whatever this was, felt like a lifeline. "We should do it again." His smile widened, but there was something hesitant in it. "Yeah, we should." And then he leaned in. It wasn't a kiss. Not yet. Just a tilt of his head, a question in his eyes. My heart slammed against my ribs, torn between yes and what the hell am I doing? Before I could decide, my phone buzzed in my pocket, shattering the moment. I fumbled for it, grateful for the interruption. A text from Mia lit up the screen. Call me when you're free. Need to vent. Everything okay? Elliot asked, stepping back, hands shoved into his coat pockets. Yeah, just Mia. She's probably stressed about work again. I hesitated, then added, You sure you don't know her? You seemed, I don't know, weird about it earlier. He laughed, but it was tight forced. Weird. Nah, I just... Look, it's nothing. I dated someone she knew once. Small world, right? The words landed like a pebble in a still pond, rippling outward. Someone she knew? Yeah. He rubbed the back of his neck, avoiding my gaze. It was a while ago. Didn't work out. My stomach dropped. A while ago. Someone she knew. The pieces were there, but I couldn't fit them together. Not yet. Who? He sighed, and when he finally met my eyes, I saw it. Guilt. Mia. The world tilted. Mia? You dated Mia. It was years ago, he said quickly, like that made it better. Before you and I even met. We were together for, 6 months. It ended messy, but it's ancient history. Ancient history. 6 months. Messy. My mind raced, pulling up every tear-streaked memory of Mia, sobbing over some guy who'd ruined her. She'd never named him. Just called him, that asshole, or the worst mistake of my life. I'd assumed it was. Some random jerk, not Elliot. Why didn't you tell me? My voice was sharp, louder than I meant it to be. A couple passing by glanced at us, but I didn't care. I didn't think it mattered, he shot back, then softened. I mean, I didn't know you two were that close until tonight. And by then, I didn't want to ruin this. This. I gestured between us, my chest tight. What even is this, Elliot? Were you ever going to tell me? I don't know. He looked away, jaw clenched. I didn't plan this, okay? I like you, Lauren. A lot. And I didn't want some old baggage, screwing it up. I stared at him, the man I'd spent weeks laughing with, confiding in, and now... What? A stranger? A liar? My best friend's ex... The betrayal stung, not just from him, but from the universe itself. How had I missed this? How had I sat across from him all night, oblivious to the ghost of Mia hovering between us? I need to go, I said, turning toward my car. Lauren, wait. But I didn't. I couldn't. The drive home was a blur of headlights and half-formed thoughts. Mia's text burning a hole in my pocket. I called her as soon as I got home, pacing my tiny apartment like a caged animal. The phone rang twice before she picked up, her voice bright despite the late hour. Hey, finally free from your hot date. I froze mid-step. What? Your dinner with that guy from work. Elliot, right? You texted me about it yesterday. Oh God, I had a casual grabbing dinner with Elliot from the office. Wish me luck. She'd replied with a winking emoji, and I'd thought nothing of it. Now, it felt like a confession I hadn't meant to make. Yeah, I said, throat dry. Elliot. Mia, did you ever date someone named Elliot? Silence. Then, a sharp intake of breath. Why? Just answer me. Lauren, what's going on? Her tone shifted, wary now. Yes, I dated an Elliot. Elliot Grayson. Total dick. Broke my heart sophomore year of grad school. Why are you asking? My knees buckled. I sank onto the couch, clutching the phone. Because I just had dinner with him. More silence. Then, you're kidding. I didn't know Mia. He didn't tell me until after, and I I swear, I had no idea. Elliot Grayson? She repeated, voice rising. Tall, hazel eyes. Thinks he's God's gift to women? That's him, I whispered. She laughed, but it was bitter, jagged. Of course, he'd worm his way into your life too. Did he pull the charming coworker act? Tell me he didn't kiss you. He didn't, I said quickly. But he might have, if you hadn't texted. Jesus, Lauren. She sounded like she was crying now or close to it. That guy. He destroyed me. Lied about everything. Made me feel like I was crazy for wanting more than he could give. And now he's after you. I don't think he's after me, I said, but the words felt hollow. It was just dinner. I didn't know. You didn't know because he didn't tell you, she snapped. That's who he is. He hides shit until it's too late. God, I can't believe this. Guilt clawed at me, sharp and relentless. I'm sorry, Mia. I'd never. I wouldn't have gone if I'd known. It's not your fault, she said, softer now. It's him. Always him. We talked for an hour after that, her spilling every detail of their breakup. The cheating, the gaslighting, the way he'd left her questioning her worth. I listened, numb, picturing Elliot's smile, his laugh, the way he'd looked at me like I was the only person in the room. Was it all an act? Or had he changed? Did it even matter? When we hung up, I sat in the dark, staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed again. Elliot this time. Can we talk? I'm sorry. I didn't reply. The next week was torture. At work, Elliot kept his distance. But I felt his eyes on me during meetings, a silent plea I refused to acknowledge. Mia texted me daily, checking in, her anger at him bleeding into every word. I was caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to her and the nagging what if that wouldn't leave me alone. What if he had changed? What if tonight had meant something real to him? What if I'd misjudged everything? Friday rolled around again, and he cornered me by the coffee machine. His tie was loose, his hair mussed, and the bags under his eyes said he hadn't slept much either. Lauren, he started, voice low. I messed up. I should have told you from the start. I didn't want to lose you over something that's dead and buried. Dead and buried? I crossed my arms. Mia doesn't think so. She's still hurting, Elliot. And you didn't give me a choice in this. I know. He dragged a hand through his hair. I was selfish. I liked you too much to risk it. But I swear, I'm not that guy anymore. What happened with Mia? It was a mistake. I was a mess back then. And now, I challenged. What's this, then? Another mistake? No. His eyes locked on mine, raw and unguarded. This is different. You're different. My heart lurched, traitor that it was. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But Mia's voice echoed in my head, warning me not to fall for it. I need time, I said finally. And you need to figure out how to make this right with her. Not just me. He nodded, defeated. Okay, take all the time you need. Weeks passed. Mia softened, her anger giving way to reluctant acceptance. If you like him, she said one night over wine, I won't stop you. Just be careful. Elliot didn't push, but he didn't disappear either. Small gestures. Coffee on my desk, a funny email. Kept him present, a quiet persistence I couldn't ignore. And me, I wrestled with it. The guilt, the attraction, the fear of losing Mia or myself in the process. But one night, staring at his latest text, still owe you that gnocchi corruption. I made a choice. I called him. Dinner. Tomorrow. We'll see where it goes. His voice was warm, hopeful. Deal. As I hung up, I felt the weight lift, just a little. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe it was a beginning. Either way, I was ready to find out. Comment down if you want part 2.